doing the gram.
Doing the gram. All right. What's the first question? So, I guess, so my mum was a music teacher and my dad wasn't musical, but he likes music. So I guess that was a good combo. And we always had music on in the house. We always had a piano. My mum played a lot of instruments and it's just a normal thing, really. I guess I never saw music as a thing that I was gonna do or, had to try and manufacture. It just was. Music was just always there, and I'll always be grateful for that, because I know some people don't always, for whatever reason, have the benefit of that. But I'm so glad and grateful to have that sense of music is just a part, or was just a part of life and of our house. I had a piano teacher who I started with when I was about 7, and he saw me through from there through to 18, getting my grade 8 to go off to university after that. And I feel like he was such an important influence on me because he was an amazing pianist, amazing classical pianist. And I remember when I was 10 years old seeing him play Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto with an orchestra. And it's an amazing piece anyway, beautiful piece. But just to see your teacher doing that, seeing someone that you spend time with each week and who is investing in you, to then see them up there doing that was amazing. And so yeah, I never saw learning music as a chore. I never thought about, oh gosh, I've got to try to do this, or I've got to get myself up for a lesson, or got to practice. I mean, as soon as you become a teenager, you stop wanting to practice, don't you? But actually, I was always motivated by him, and he was always really encouraging of me to write my own music and to try and express myself. And what I love about that is that it's not related to age or experience or qualification. I was, 8, 9 years old, and I would turn up to a lesson with like a piece of manuscript paper that I had scrawled some of the most unintelligible and ridiculous stuff musically, which, would kind of basically end up sort of sounding like and kind of ridiculous, but he would try to make it obvious that he was trying to play what I had written. Fortunately, I kind of moved away from that slightly avant-garde contemporary style, and found my own voice, really. But he was a really important influence for me, for sure. So yeah, I think the piano was always the instrument for me. I feel like there was something about it that spoke to me. It wasn't just him. We used to go and see concerts at Symphony Hall in Birmingham. I grew up in the Midlands, and I remember going to see Evgeny Kissin, who was an amazing Russian pianist, and then seeing even someone like Wynton Marsalis with his band, and bringing different musical styles into my life was just something that I really enjoyed, and I really do feel like piano was always going to be the one that really worked for me. I did dally with trombone and guitar, drums, and I did a lot of singing as well, classical singing. I really enjoy singing, and if there's one style of music that I listen to more than anything, it's probably choral music, mostly classical, or I guess you might even say, sacred and non-sacred choral music, and I really do love that. Dabbled in writing for that as well, but I do think that piano is amazing. I love the fact that the piano is genreless, and that you can express yourself in so many different ways on the piano, and so much so that I have my event series in Leeds called Brudenell Piano Sessions, which tries essentially to bring all of that stuff together and say, look, the instrument is so vast and so interesting, and the possibilities on it are so huge. I feel like there's no more instrument, there's no instrument that gives you more possibilities or more opportunities to write in different styles. And so I think that's one of the things that's always drawn me, because I grew up learning classically, but then when I became a teenager, I was sort of getting into jazz and other forms of music, and just wanting to just explore, just being one of those creative people that was never happy just to be like, I'll just take someone's word for it. I want to go off and explore and find out my stuff and find my voice on the instrument as well.
So,
No, I won't move. Sorry, continuity. Instrumental music. Why? As I mentioned, I did a lot of singing. I did a lot of singing in different contexts, in different styles, different places, different buildings, different things, and sometimes often playing guitar. I tried for a long time to convince everyone and myself that I was a guitar-based singer-songwriter. The problem with that is I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't very good at writing lyrics. I was all right at singing, but I wasn't very good at writing lyrics, even though I've got plenty to say. I wasn't very good at actually putting them into a concise song. My wife was very encouraging for me, and we're talking, over 10 years ago, really, 2013 time, where I'd kind of lost my way really with it. I'd lost the love for the instrument. Then I was trying to do something else, trying to be something else, prove that I should be this, or that I could be someone, that was something else. So I kind of needed a catalyst. I needed something which was gonna push me to find that again, and I'll always be grateful to her for that, because I don't know, I wonder if I would have ever found that myself without her encouragement. So I got back into playing with different people and playing in bands and doing a lot more session work and things like that, which I've always loved and always enjoyed. And I always thought I was always happy being the guy on the side. So like, no one knows keyboard players' names unless it's like the Doors, Ray Manzarek, something like that. Everyone always knows the lead guitarist's name. There's a hierarchy, isn't there, in a band? The singer, lead guitarist, maybe the drummer, bassist perhaps, and then if there is keyboards even in the band, then they're just like the guys that no one cares about. And I was kind of happy doing that, just sitting on the side, tinkling away, just doing my keys, playing my organ, playing my Rhodes, and all of that kind of stuff. And so I guess really at the beginning of 2015, I'd been writing a lot of this sort of instrumental piano-based music, but not really knowing what it was, who it was for, and sort of not even really knowing who it was influenced by. I kind of had been getting into artists like Oliver Arnolds, Nils Fram, who have since gone on to, I guess, be the big guys in this nascent modern neoclassical scene that has grown over the last 10 to 15 years. And actually finding my voice within that was essentially building on the classical heritage of what I'd learned, and the canon and the repertoire that you learn. But actually, what I've always really loved is composing or making, taking ideas and doing them myself. Not because I think I'm in any way special or better than anyone else, but just because I feel like as a creative person, I really enjoyed being able to put that story out there, put that version out there. I've always been shy, quite introverted, introspective person. And I feel like being able to put stuff out there was a good way for me of being able to connect with other people, particularly having spent some time not looking or not playing at the piano and trying to show and convince myself and other people that I could be something that I wasn't or that I shouldn't be. And so coming back to this, but sort of finding the instrument in a new and fresh way was so exciting. And then I kind of discovered that there was a lot of people making this music dotted around the world. We connected over things like SoundCloud and YouTube and Instagram and things like that, and being able to just explore this music with other like-minded people and amongst the kind of community, I guess, and was really great. And it's just grown and blossomed from there, really, and I feel glad for that. I'm proud of that because it feels quite organic, and I've not tried to force it. I've not tried to be something or be someone. It's just a natural expression of me and who I am and what I want to say and what I want to do. The instrumental thing is great because actually I feel like I can say more through playing the piano instrumentally than I ever was able to when I was trying to actually use words. And I know that sounds a little bit paradoxical, but it's an amazing thing to be able to say, okay, yeah, I'm putting this stuff out there, but in a way it draws people into that sense of introspection, because you're not telling people necessarily what to think or how to think or how to be or who to be. There's space, there's openness within that for the connection between other people, but also a desire to connect, a desire to hear what other people think, and rather than just pushing something into their face and ramming it down their throats, it's an open form of music. It's a collective, a collegiate approach to making music, writing music, and then sharing it and performing it. And that's been such a powerful thing in the last coming on for 10 years, really, since I first put a random little piece up on SoundCloud and made it public and was kind of petrified of what people were going to think. But it's been really, really good. So I'm really pleased, and I'm really glad to still be doing it, and that people still want to hear my music. So I think there's a strong sense of motivation for me to keep making this music, in that it's become something that I never thought I was going to have. I thought that music as a thing for me had sort of sailed a little bit, that ship had sailed. Either I was going to be the guy on the side in the corner playing keys and piano and not doing anything, or then doing some teaching and doing some other stuff around music. And sure, I do all of that stuff still, and I love it, and it's always going to be a part of a really rich and varied portfolio career, which we all must have now. But I think there's something so special in the fact that I never set out to do this. I am more surprised than anyone that Simeon Walker, my name of Simeon Walker, is kind of like put out there on Spotify or YouTube or wherever else. Have a real issue with the fact that a lot of the time, having to do these interviews or have pictures taken of my face and then put them everywhere, because that doesn't feel that feels incongruous. It feels like that wasn't ever why I was doing it. I was never doing it to be something. But as time has moved on, I've become so aware that there are people who seem to like what I'm doing, and that is a nice feeling for sure. And I hope that it comes across as me just trying to be real, trying to be honest, and tell us a genuine story about what I'm doing, what I'm making, what I'm experiencing as a musician, as a creative person. We're really often hoping or desperate for creative people to find meaning or help us to find meaning in what we do, or what life is for, or what trying to answer some of those big questions about life, which I don't have the answers to. But actually, that's okay. It's okay not to have the answers, but it's okay. I think what it's about is about trying to exist together, find a way through together, And this whole thing about doing it together, it's really special for me because playing the piano solo instrumentally can feel very isolated sometimes, and all those hours spent practicing by yourself or in a basement practice room at university or things like that, they often don't lead you to that place of feeling particularly good about yourself or happy, because it's isolated and it's separate. And for someone who's an introspective introvert already, that's kind of like a bad concoction. So the thing that I love most is the fact that through this music I've been able to find a bunch of people who are enjoying it, are interested in what I'm trying to make musically, perhaps what I'm trying to say outwardly about the creative process or about how we do it. And not that I'm some kind of special person who's got all the answers, but it's just I'm someone who's trying, failing, sometimes succeeding, and trying to bring people together and experience it live and having a really good time making musical memories together in live shows and on tours and online and interactions, and having emails with people from the other side of the world who somehow or other have found my music, and being able to engage and share that with other people is so meaningful for me, and that's why I do it, that's why I keep on doing it, and is why I'm going to fight to carry on doing it, even though it's more difficult than ever as a creative person to find a way to make this sustainable. I'm going to keep doing it. Look, that one. These guys do that. It's like talking to my son. The same kind of reaction. Give me food. That's all I want. So in terms of the future, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what I've been able to build so far. The end of this year, 2024, marks this 10-year cycle of things, which celebrating with this new release, which I've recently announced, called Remnants, which is going to be a sort of collection of music, a best of, if you will, of pieces from 2015, the very first piece I released called January, right through to something really fresh and new called Saturnine. And in a way, it's kind of helpful to be able to just box that off and kind of go, this is what I made during this time, and that's what it is. It's certainly not a kind of, that was this, now I'm going to go off and do sort of, I don't know, something completely crazy and different. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. But it gives me that sense of confidence that, okay, I've been doing this for 10 years. This is a really important part of my life, part of what I'm trying to do, and sharing it with other people. And so in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm hoping that I'll be able to release another couple of albums. I've got some big ideas about what I'd like to do with that. And also developing this sense of collaborative relationship and music making and being creative with other people rather than being just a solo artist. That's great, and I like that, but other projects, working with other people who inspire me and help to take me into a different place musically, is something that I am looking forward to doing, and carrying on. And goodness knows what the music industry is going to look like in another 10 years' time. But I think more than ever, as there's a lot of worry at the moment around things like AI and technology and all of that stuff just replacing music and musicians, and I feel like more than ever I feel actually less worried about that to some extent, because I feel like there's always going to need to be, people are always going to want to have a connection with the person who brings this stuff into being, whatever it is. Some people might call it a spiritual experience, some people might call it something else. It doesn't matter, and I'm not here to answer those questions, but it's about finding a way to react, to interact, to connect, to bring people together. And I think that's really important. And I think there'll be more need for that than ever, as technology increases the ability for things to make even more obvious sounding music, but I think that there's a need for us to develop a sense of community around music even more. So I don't feel too worried about it. I feel excited.